The ground was soft but not peaceful. As I walked with heavy steps over the wet mud, the sound of my boots echoed in my ears with each step. The air was cool. Fog had descended. It covered everything like a gray veil. We were in the middle of war, but sometimes you see something and suddenly forget the war entirely. That's when I saw her, a small silhouette by the roadside, almost pressed against the ground. She looked like a child, but she hadn't moved for so long. You could mistake her for a stone. What I didn't know was that this moment would change both our lives forever. Welcome to the Real Life Stories. Before we begin this powerful story of humanity in the midst of war, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today, and if you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, hit that subscribe button. These stories matter. I stopped. Something tightened inside me. Wait, I told my companion. I lowered my rifle but didn't let go of it. Yes, it was a child. Small, skinny. She was in a torn, thin dress, covered in mud, but seemingly didn't care. Her arms were locked around her knees as if protecting herself. She slowly raised her head. We made eye contact. She looked vacant, but her eyes weren't empty. There was exhaustion, deep exhaustion, like someone who hadn't spoken for a long time. She was watching me, but I couldn't understand what was going through her mind. In that small face, there was wisdom far beyond her years. I crouched down. I felt my knees touch the mud. "Are you alone?" I said slowly, keeping my voice as soft as possible. She didn't answer, but she didn't look away from me either, as if she was measuring me, thinking whether she could trust me or not. I took out a piece of chocolate from my pocket. I extended it to her small hand. "Take it," I said quietly. "It's yours." She didn't move. I waited a bit. Patience, I thought. This child needs patience. Then she touched the chocolate with her fingers, but didn't take it, as if she was testing me. I didn't know what to say. I stood up, looked around. There was no sound, no footprints, as if the world had forgotten her here, or the world had moved away from her and she had stayed here. "Can we go to your family?" I asked. But there was such silence that I already knew the answer to the question. I knelt beside the child again. I reached out slowly to take her in my arms. For a moment she moved, a tense movement. She wasn't going to run, but she didn't quite trust me either. Her hands tightened a bit, as if asking, "What are you going to do?" Then she slightly bowed her head, and she let me. I took her in my arms. It was as if she had no weight at all. Her bones could almost be counted, but inside me, I felt how big what I was carrying was. This wasn't just a child. This was hope, a responsibility. I started walking. I didn't know where I was taking her, but I couldn't leave her there. That's all I knew at that moment. My steps were more determined now. "What are we going to tell the commander?" asked the soldier beside me. "We found something," I said. "Something that needs to be protected." I didn't know her name, but I had to say something. I had to find a way to address her. "Lily," I whispered. "From now on, I'll call you that." She didn't say anything, but her eyes turned to me for a moment. There was a small movement in her body, and she, I think, accepted it too. The road was long, but I was no longer alone. When night fell, the camp quieted down. But Lily wasn't sleeping. Wrapped tightly in a blanket, her eyes stayed open. She wouldn't close a single eye, as if she wanted to be somewhere else instead of being there, or nowhere at all. I didn't sleep easily either anyway. It had been that way since the war came. But that night, as I heard her breathing, the silence inside me grew a little bigger, as if her fear was mixing with mine. Footsteps came from outside the tent. Marty stood at the edge of the tent. "I need to talk to you," he said in a low voice. I raised my head. We made eye contact. There was worry in his eyes. I went outside. The cold of the night was slapping my face. "I know you're protecting her," said Marty. There was no accusation in his voice, but there was worry. "But this won't work with our rules, Jack. You know that too." "Rules?" I said wearily. keeping my voice low so it wouldn't carry. "There's a child here. Who could she harm?" "Who?" "You know this," said Marty. He ran his hand through his hair. "But they could take you away from here. Not just Lily. You're at risk too. And so are we, with you." There was some pain in his gaze, and some fear too. The fear of a man who had kept to himself. "We all had this. I can't leave this child there," I said. "I can't, Marty. I know that too," said Marty quietly. "That's why I'm talking to you. If something happens to you, who will take care of her?" When I returned inside, Lily's breath was coming softly from under the blanket. I looked at her for a moment. Her small hands were clenched. Her face was gloomy, but she was still a child whose hope hadn't been broken. I could tell from her eyes. Marty's right, I thought, but I'm right too. As Marty left the tent, he shrugged. "Be careful," he said. "Just be careful." As the door closed, I took a deep breath. There were unanswered questions in my head. The only thing I knew was that this child was safe with me. That night, Lily's silence whispered the loudest voice to me. I need to stay here. The nights were getting heavier with silence here. The sound of bullets had perhaps decreased, but another war continued inside. Between conscience and rules. Lily sat in the corner of the tent wrapped in a blanket. She wasn't talking. She wasn't crying. But she was awake, always awake, as if she didn't have the luxury of closing her eyes. At mealtime, Marty came in. He approached with a tin bowl in his hand. "Some rice," he said in a low voice. "No sugar, but at least it's warm." Lily didn't look at him, but she followed Marty's hands. He was aware of this too. He slowly opened the bowl, didn't turn it over. "Bon appétit, little lady," said Marty. There was an unusual softness in his voice. As Marty was leaving through the door, he turned his shoulder to me. "Everyone's aware," he said, "that she's staying with you, that you're taking care of her. No one says anything." "Why?" "Because," he said, hesitating, "everyone needs something like this." "A reminder of what?" "That we're human." After he left, I turned to Lily. The bowl was in her lap. She slowly took a spoonful, then put it down. She turned her head toward where I was. At that moment, the answer to the question I asked was obvious. Trust takes time. "You're not in a hurry," I said. "You have time." I sat on the edge of my bed. In the darkness, I watched her movements under the blanket. A tiny human was hiding herself against a huge world. "I used to be scared when I was a child too," I said to the darkness. "I was most scared at nights. My mother would come, sit beside me. She wouldn't talk. I would just feel that she was there." Lily didn't move at all, but I felt her breathing change. "If you want, I can sit here too," I said. "I'll just sit." I stayed like that all night. I didn't move, but at one point, in one of those very quiet moments, I saw her hand come out from the edge of the blanket. Her palm was facing up. That was all. I approached, slowly extended my hand. I didn't touch. I just left it near hers. I didn't say anything. We stayed like that until morning, two people sharing the same silence. The next morning, the camp was a bit more tense. The new commander, Harris, had come. Cold-eyed, file-holding, silence-loving type. He was going through the tents one by one. Everyone was holding their breath. Marty came to me. His face was pale. "Be careful today," he said. "The inspection is going by tent if they see Lily." I nodded, but my heart was beating. "She'll get under the bed," I said. "She's already understood anyway." She really had understood. With very little movement, she got under the blanket. I couldn't see her face, but I knew her eyes were open. I could hear her breathing. I approached her. "We'll just wait a bit," I said quietly. "You don't need to be afraid." After a while, the door opened. Commander Harris entered. He walked with firm steps, thick folders in his hands. His eyes scanned the inside of the tent, every corner, every detail. For a moment, his gaze caught on the blanket. He approached. Something shrank inside me, but I didn't make a sound. I just watched. He watched too. He didn't bend down. He didn't ask, but he knew. You could read it from his eyes. "This place is orderly," he said finally. His voice was flat, emotionless. Then he left through the door. Lily didn't speak at all that day, but when she came out from under the blanket, she looked at me, and for the first time she nodded, as if she wanted to say, "Now you're not the only one protecting me. I'm hiding you too." That evening I saw her smile for the first time. Very slight, but it was there. Days were passing. The war had slowed down but hadn't ended. So were we. Stagnant, but alive. Lily now went to the kitchen tent by herself. Slow, cautious, but she had steps now. When she took food, no one said anything. As if she was born here. She was like the silent ghost of the camp. One day I gave her a small notebook. The pages had yellowed. I extended it with a pencil. "If you want," I said, "you can draw or you can write." At first, she didn't know what to do. She took the notebook in her hand, smelled it. Then she knelt on her knees and opened the notebook. She looked at the empty page for a long time. Then she started drawing. She drew a house, small, simple, but detailed, a tree next to it, and a man in front of the door. He had a hat on his head. I understood it was me. She just put a mark under the drawing, a cross, as if she was saying, "There's no house anymore." But I remember. "It's beautiful," I said, "very beautiful." That night while sitting outside the tent, Marty came. He crouched beside me. He smoothed the soil with his hand. He said, "Lily being here doesn't seem strange to me anymore, as if she's always been with us." "It seems that way to me too," I said. We were quiet for a while. Then Marty continued, "Maybe if we can still protect some things in the middle of this war, then it's still ours." At that moment I looked at the sky. There were no stars, but the air was quiet. For the first time in a long time, this was real silence. I don't know if Lily was watching me, but maybe she had felt the peace I felt at that moment too. One morning early, when the radio fell silent, I understood that things were going to change. The camp wasn't quiet, but something inside me had become more silent. I could feel bad news approaching. Marty was waiting for me in front of the tent. His face was tense, his eyes were distracted. He was constantly rubbing his hands. "New orders came," he said. He was having trouble getting his voice out. "The commander wants all unauthorized sheltered civilians to be handed over immediately. This was given for Lily. They'll take her tomorrow morning." For a moment I couldn't answer. Lily was inside. She was scribbling something in her notebook. The world might not matter to her, but everything inside me revolved only around her. "I can't allow this," I said. I clenched my teeth so my voice wouldn't carry. Marty was quiet for a while. Then he took out a piece of map from his pocket. 3 places were marked. "The only place I think is safe is this monastery," he said. "An old French structure at the foot of the mountain. A few old women still live there. If we secretly leave the camp, we can leave Lily there." I nodded. "We'll leave at night," I said. "I can't walk in daylight." "There's a risk," said Marty. "They'll remove you from duty, too." "It doesn't matter," I said. "Lily matters." That night there was no moon. I put some food, Lily's notebook, an old blanket in my backpack. I didn't tell her anything. I just looked into her eyes. "We're going somewhere," I said. "The night will be a bit long, but we'll be in a safe place in the morning." Lily just nodded. Her eyes were scared. But there was something else. Faith. When we left the tent, I didn't turn back. I couldn't. Lily was leaning tightly against my back. "Are you ready?" I said. She nodded. We set off. Mud, stone, thorns. But she never complained. I didn't feel her weight on my back at all. Sometimes silence comes like a thank you. I kept saying, "Don't be afraid," even though I knew she wouldn't understand. And she, as if to show that she understood, would lean her head on my back, hold on tighter with her small hands. Toward morning, we reached the monastery. It was an old stone structure. The door opened with a creak. An old woman came out from inside. Her face was wrinkled, but her eyes were warm. She looked me over. She looked at Lily. She didn't ask. "Is this a place where Lily can stay?" I said. The woman nodded. "No one asks anyone questions here," she said. "But everyone lives safely." Lily got off my back. Her small feet touched the ground. She looked at me for a short time. Her eyes didn't fill with tears, but her hands held the blanket tighter. "This place is safe," I said. My voice was cracking. "I want you to know this." She took a step. She stopped at the second step. She turned back. She extended the notebook in her hand. She had drawn something on the inside cover, a man and a girl child. They were walking side by side. She'd written only 2 letters underneath, J and L. My hands were trembling as I took the notebook. "We'll meet again," I said. "I promise." Her eyes had filled with tears, and she hugged me one last time. She left me there and went inside. The door closed. I also turned around and started walking, but something of mine had stayed there. And it always would. When I returned to America, no one asked me about the war. I changed my clothes, cut my hair, returned to my old neighborhood, but the voice inside me remained the same. Lily's voice. Everything was normal. But I was someone else now. And Lily was still there, inside me. A year later, I met Sarah. She was a strong woman. She had also experienced losses from her own family, but she still carried warmth inside. The complete opposite of me. She accepted me as I was. I, on the other hand, was a man who couldn't even manage to approach her peace at first. But she patiently left the answers to questions she never asked me to time. One night, I mumbled something in my sleep. "Lily," I was saying. "Lily, don't be afraid." That morning at breakfast, as she looked at me, there was a thin line between her eyebrows. "Jack," she said, "you go back to war every night, but when you wake up, you can't stay here. Please let me help you." I raised my head. Suddenly I felt tight inside. But for the first time, I wanted to tell. Talking wasn't easy. But as I stayed silent, it grew bigger. I talked about Lily, about the monastery, her silence, that little picture she drew. Everything. Sarah didn't look away. There wasn't judgment in her eyes, but deep understanding. "You didn't abandon her," she said. "You saved her, but you left a part of yourself there." That night, I slept peacefully for the first time. Because Sarah was right. In the following days, Sarah started writing letters to old units, aid organizations, nuns, archives. "Maybe we won't find her," she said, "but even knowing that she's okay would heal." We folded every letter together. In every unanswered wait, we were silent together. That silence no longer left me alone, because now I had Lily inside me and Sarah beside me. It was an ordinary envelope in the mailbox. There was neither an official seal nor anything eye-catching on it. But the moment I touched the envelope, my hand stopped. My heart beat in a way I thought I had long forgotten. The address seemed familiar. I sat on the couch in the living room, waited a few seconds before opening it. Sarah glanced at me from the corner of her eye, but didn't say anything. I opened the envelope. A single page came out. The writing was plain, straight, neat, but every word touched my heart. "I am Lily. I hope you remember me. The child under that blanket. I'm grown up now. I have 2 children. I want to see you. If it's still possible, I would like to visit you." With the letter in my hand, I sat motionless for a while. Years had passed, but everything seemed like yesterday. Sarah came beside me, put her palm on my knee. She didn't ask anything, but by slightly bowing her head, she whispered, "The time has come." 2 weeks later, the doorbell rang. I felt a tightness inside me. The moment I had been waiting for had come. I slowly got up, walked to the door. Holding my breath, I opened it. A woman stood before me, simply dressed, eyes deep but soft. That familiar expression was on her face, the warmth that time hadn't taken away. Behind her, a man holding a small child's hand. Beside them, a young girl, her eyes just like hers. Lily smiled, that small, shy smile. "It's me," she said. Her voice was now a woman's voice, but her trembling was the same. "I know I'm late." I couldn't say anything. My eyes had filled up. I just nodded. And then I opened my arms. Lily didn't hesitate. She stepped forward. We hugged, as if that blanket was wrapped over us again after years. In that embrace, there was all the past, all the longing, all the love. "Are you real?" I whispered. "I'm real," she said. "And thanks to you." From behind me, Sarah came out. The dear woman approached Lily's daughter, who was carrying a small toy in her arms. "What a beautiful name you have," she said. The girl was shy, hid behind her mother. "This is Sarah," I told Lily. "She wrote letters to be able to find you." Lily turned to Sarah. "Thank you," she said. Her eyes were filled. "Thank you for trying to find me." Lily's husband extended his hand to Sarah. "We still keep those letters that were written to us years ago," he said. They were sentences written with a wife's love. We went out to the garden. The children ran around on the ground. Lily's son pressed his small hands to the ground and laughed. We drank tea together. No one mentioned the war, but we were all there, in that tent on that night, in that eye contact. "What happened after the monastery?" I asked. Lily turned her eyes to the distance. "The nuns adopted me," she said. "They educated me, raised me, but I always kept that notebook you gave me." She took it out of her bag, old, yellowed, but still standing. "You're on every page," she said. "That night when you held my hand," she continued, "I believed I could be someone else. Thank you." I bowed my head. "I was able to become human again with you too," I said. Toward sunset, everyone quieted down. Only the children's laughter could be heard. Lily's daughter had sat in Sarah's lap, telling her something. Lily's son was also on my lap. "Grandpa?" asked the little child. Lily laughed. "Something like that," she said. And at that moment I understood. Sometimes a life is rewritten from the beginning with a single hand touch. Sometimes a decision becomes the fate not only of that moment, but of future generations too. As Lily was getting up, she hugged me one last time. "Sleep peacefully now," she said. "I'm safe." While seeing them off, Sarah held my hand. "You gave her life," she said. "She gave you meaning." That night, for the first time in years, I didn't dream of Lily, because now she was real, and she was safe. Sometimes the greatest battles aren't fought with weapons, but with the simple choice to protect innocence in the midst of chaos. Jack's decision to save Lily didn't just change her life, it transformed his own and created a legacy that would echo through generations. In a world torn apart by war, two souls found each other and proved that humanity's greatest victory isn't conquering territory, but preserving the light in a single child's eyes. Sometimes the most important mission isn't the one in your orders, it's the one in your heart. So I ask you, have you ever encountered someone who changed your life in an unexpected moment? Someone who reminded you of what truly matters when everything else seemed lost? Share their story in the comments, because at the Human Stories, we believe that the bonds formed in our darkest hours often shine the brightest. If this story moved, don't forget to subscribe. Stories like Jack and Lily's remind us that even in war, love finds a way. Even in chaos, hope survives, and sometimes the smallest acts of courage create the most lasting legacies. See you in the next story. And remember, sometimes the most important battles are fought not on the front lines, but in the quiet moments when we choose love over fear.